Federal government has less than a month left before a potential economically devastating default on its debt. U.S. debt hit a record high back in January, $31 trillion. That means the government will soon run out of available cash to meet its spending commitments. A standoff, Congress and the White House. Well, we wanted to break it down, how it's going to affect you. For insights, we turn to Darryl Rosen, a fiduciary financial advisor, CEO of Rose Advisory Group in Schaumburg. Mr. Rosen, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, so I listened to a podcast like Debt Ceiling 101, and if I were to break it down, it would be like if I have a family, kid in college, house note, car note, debt ceiling is like, you know, I would say, hey, as a family, we're never going to spend more than $400,000 in debt, never accrue that, all in. So if we reach that limit, needed to recalibrate spending, to raise it, kind of that's what's happening here on a national level, right? We're kind of like run out of money for this limit we set in June.
Well, you know, it reminds me of my son's fighting over the last piece of pizza.
Okay.
But that pizza is the financial stability of the country. And if you can think of maybe when you used to get an allowance, and then you spent that allowance, but then you went back to your parents and asked for more money because of that. That's what's happening. There have been times when a situation like this, you know, a lot of it's politics, posturing, where the goal is to extract something from the other side, even if they're not really related. So in past administrations throughout history, I mean, we've raised the debt ceiling like 80 times. So this involves paying bills, and but I guess, you know, they're talking about spending and moving forward on that and cutting different things, and so we've come to this impasse. There's a big meeting today, so I know everybody's very excited about that. But what's interesting is in this meeting today, they're going to be talking about like broad ways that they can maybe agree. They're not even talking about specifics. They just want to, like, you know, maybe we're not going to compromise on this, so let's take this off the table. So I wouldn't expect anything dramatic today, but apparently they're working on it.
Yeah, so I mean, we're not even getting into the nitty gritty, the actual dollars and cents, which is actually literally what we need to be getting to here. So for context, Mr. Rosen, the last time Congress had a close call with the debt limit was in 2011, as you've informed us, and we've talked about when federal debt stood at $14 trillion before defaulting. Congress did reach a deal, but not before the stock market dropped like 14% in 4 weeks preceding that. So looking ahead, I mean, you know, if I got some extra scratch in the game right now, should I pull that aside while all this rigmarole is going on in D.C.?
Well, so Brad, there's an expression in the stock market business: sell in May and go away. And the premise of this in normal years is that in the summer the markets are more volatile because there's less trading, and it's just less stable than during the winter months. And so when people ask me about that, hey, should I sell in May and go away? And I say, like, no. You can't do that, because first of all, it only works half the time.
Right.
And so the problem with timing the market, Brad, when you talk about like what's happening now, the problem with timing the market is that you have to be right twice.
Right.
You have to be right when to get out. You have to be right when to get back in. That's really difficult. That's really difficult. So, you know, I always urge caution. We talked about this a little bit last time when you had me on. Is money we need to pay our bills should not be at risk. And so when I work primarily with people who are approaching retirement and thinking about retirement, and it can be very difficult. But the thing is, we don't need every dollar we're going to need in retirement the day we walk out the door. So we should be investing based upon time horizon. The bottom line is that money that we need short term, because we have stuff like this every year. I mean, last year was Ukraine, and we had COVID, and all throughout this whole century we have stuff like that. So you just can't have money that you need to pay your bills at risk. And unfortunately, we have to sit this stuff out. One thing about 2011, Brad, was yes, the market dropped 14%, but then it finished the year unchanged. The next year was up double digits. So when do you get out and when do you get back
Right.
in? It's very dangerous.
Yeah, so you ixnay that plan. That makes it more of a roulette wheel than anything. And I also, you said it's a double bet.
Correct.
To get out right on the out and to get right on the in. So 2 final questions for you, quickies here. This could push interest rates higher. If I am in the market for a car, should I maybe put that on hold for a time? And the other thing is, there are many dependents on entitlements here, Social Security. This could play with that. If I have getting a Social Security check from Uncle Sam every month, should I stash a little extra away and see how this thing pans out? That's kind of 2 different fields, but if you could take both those for me, that'd be great.
Okay, so let's talk about personal debt for a second. The Federal Reserve came out yesterday. Personal debt is now topped over $17 trillion. Credit card debt is at $986 billion. The average car loan is over $700 a month. So, Brad, what I tell people is that the 3 hardest things in personal finance are the ways to get ahead: earn more, save more, want less. And that's the difficult one. So I think that, we always have to examine our spending. So I think there are going to be ramifications with interest rates could spike, markets could tumble. There could be delays in getting Social Security checks, getting Medicare bills paid, or other food stamps, things like that. And your second question was what? Say your second question again.
Second question was, if I'm getting a dime from Uncle Sam, let's say it's Social Security, should I put a little extra cash to the side just in case this war goes on? And that would mean potentially I might not get my check from the government.
If the government stopped, first of all, after 2011, they put in additional protections, giving the Treasury more flexibility when things like this happen. There's never been a U.S. default. There have been government shutdowns, but there's never been this U.S. default. I mean, I have a feeling that if there was a genuine default and people were not getting paid their Social Security checks, how can they pay their bills? So I don't see another. If you're living on Social Security, you probably don't have that buffer right now anyway. So I think it would just be prudent just to stay calm and hopefully they'll work things out. Unfortunately, at this stage in the game, I don't know how much we can do on a personal level, to remedy some of this stuff.
That's a really great example, like to talk about when people talk about an economic calamity. I mean, you just basically set it up. People who are depending on Social Security need that money. They don't get the Social Security. They don't pay their bills. And I mean, that is the first snowball rolling down the hill of a giant mountain. So this thing needs to get fixed.
It would reverberate. I mean, it would reverberate through everything.
Yeah.
People, landlords not getting the rent. I mean, it would reverberate.
I can't even imagine. Listen, we do need to. We do need to look at our spending too. We clearly need to look at our spending, but you can't do it with a proverbial gun to your head and 4 weeks to go.
Well, but Brad, you used the word entitlements, and I've been paying into Social Security. You pay into Social Security.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that entitlements, I don't mean as a pejorative. I mean, I am entitled to that because I have paid into that system. That's correct. Yes.
That's the literal that's the literal meaning of the word. But it can be used to, it can be used negatively, like we're, mooching because we want money that we pay in.
Entitled to that. Yes. Right. All right. Well, we had a good conversation again today. You've enlightened us further. I even threw in a pizza in your son's metaphor today and made it make more sense for us. So, Darryl Rosen, you're good. You're great. You're welcome on the stream anytime. We're going to talk about this again because I know these guys in Washington, D.C., Not that they're all guys, but I know they're not going to. I have a feeling this game playing and posturing is probably going to go on for a couple more weeks. So we'll have you on again.
They say June 1st is the day, right? June 1st.
Okay. All right. We'll have you on before
That's the
then.
day.
If we don't see you then, happy Memorial Day, and we appreciate you.
Yeah.
Darryl Rosen, again, a fiduciary financial advisor,
Thanks,
CEO of Rose Advisory Group in Schaumburg. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.